All right, music fans. Yes, I'm back again. Busy day for me. It is Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people, just like you right there, and this guy. All right, so Dennis DeYoung was giving a radio interview, and he was being his very witty and intelligent self. It was a good interview. I can't remember the station, but if you Google it, maybe you'll find it. I get all this stuff, and it gets, mixed up with everything else I get. So this morning, had the headphones on and was listening to it, and the interviewer went there, which I'm glad he did, basically asking Dennis DeYoung, so when's the last time you've spoken with anybody from Styx? Now, in case you didn't know, Dennis DeYoung hasn't been in Styx for quite some time, and I have been a one-man lobbying team here on YouTube trying to get these two entities together again. Dennis basically said it's been about 18 years since he's spoken with anybody in Styx. First he said about 2 decades, and then he corrected himself. Yeah, about 18 years, so close to 2 decades of no interaction with Styx. So that is very telling, very interesting. Look, these guys have forsaken Dennis. They do not care to talk about Dennis. They were asked about Dennis a couple of months back, and they basically just blew it off like he didn't exist anymore, like he had already, left planet Earth, which he has not. In fact, he is working diligently with Jim Peterick. And by the way, I pronounced Jim's name inappropriately in one of my videos. For some reason, and this goes way back, I thought you pronounced it Peterick, but it's Peterick, because I heard Jim say Peterick, and so now I know. Now you know the rest of the story. So the interview was interesting because Dennis again said, hey, it would be kind of cool if we could all get together and just do one last concert tour. I don't get it from a fan standpoint. We've just seen all of this stuff going on. Vinnie Vincent coming out of hiding and talking with Gene Simmons and hinting about new music with Robert Fleischman. If that can happen, Dennis and Styx can come to some kind of one-off tour agreement, But Dennis is working with Jim Peterick on a brand new album, which he said was going very well and may be out this year, which would be a real treat for Styx fans and for fans of melodic rock. If you follow Jim, he was involved in this Mark Shearer, Jennifer Batten project, which I talked up a few videos ago, and also has been working with Pride of Lions, which is just an amazing project. And both of those singers that Jim have some Dennis DeYoung in them. So this could be really interesting to hear what the final product looks like, especially because you've got Dennis doing some songwriting. The interview also went on to defend Mr. Roboto and to kind of poke fun at Styx for, they've just excluded it from their set list. Enough water has gone under the proverbial rock and roll bridge. Does Tommy go home and just curse the day that Roboto was created? I know it got extreme. I know it went a little bit too far into the schlockiness of Dennis's vision, but even so, it was a huge hit song, and nobody can deny the power of Kilroy, because Kilroy is here. He's everywhere. Listen, folks, I don't know if this is ever going to happen. The only way it will happen is if folks like you and I take to YouTube and other platforms and heckle Styx, heckle the crap. There are a lot of people, though, that just disagree and just say, you know what, this guy Gowan is great. Yeah, he's great. Did I just do something there? Sorry. It's not good to do that on video. But I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan. In fact, I like this guy Mark Shearer sounds more like Dennis, Toby Hitchcock from Pride of Lions can probably bring it better than this guy Gowan. And I know, I talked up the Mission. It's a great album, even with Gowan on it. I'm sorry, I still hear the Lollipop Guild. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. He doesn't sound anything like Dennis DeYoung. And Dennis DeYoung's songwriting chops are just really good. And it would be an amazing project if they all got back together again. But all Dennis, I think, is looking for is just a tour. Just a big tour. One big paycheck. Rather than playing 20 nights at the Venetian, which begins tonight for Styx, by the way, which I guess is a good gig, but it sounds very like, okay, we're taking up a residency here. Isn't that the stuff of like Wayne Newton? I mean, Anyway, I guess it's easier than traveling from city to city, and these guys are a little bit older, so it's probably a better thing for them to do that. But Chicago is doing it in a couple of weeks with their new lead singer, so we'll have to see how that goes. All right, so the video is just about done. I've covered too much. Dennis DeYoung says to the interviewer, I'd like to do a tour with Styx, and I haven't spoken with these guys in 18 years. That's pretty profound, a little bit earth-shattering, and a little bit pathetic, because Styx ought to be ashamed of themselves for just boxing this guy out of their life. It's just ridiculous. Get over it. Kilroy was here. He still is here, and Roboto may be coming to a town near you via Dennis DeYoung, so look out for that, because his band, I tell you what, I'd rather go see his band than the Styx band right now, because, Dennis doesn't have Lawrence Gowan in his band, all right? So there you go. I'm Dave, this is the Real Music Observer, and I'll be back observing more real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. We'll see you soon.